to adopt strategies to curb it. Establishment of state police is one of the strategies that some Nigerians have suggested to tame insecurity in the country. While the call has stirred controversies in the polity, some former presidents and past leaders are in full support of it. At a function in Abuja, former head of state, retired General Abdulsalami Abubakar, and former President Goodluck Jonathan said the time for state police is now. But the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, feels otherwise, and he said the time isn't ripe for state police in the country due to the challenges like welfare, funding, and equipment. Let's share the story by our correspondent, Joke Adisa, with you.
Eminent politicians, including former presidents, traditional and religious leaders, converged on Abuja to deliberate on the nation's future. Former President Goodluck Jonathan and General Abdulsalami Abubakar are on the same page about the dire need for the establishment of state police in the country, but they advocate a system devoid of undue influence by politicians.
I'm not expecting states to have rockets, missiles, but the conventional weapons. If you look at the caliber of weapons criminals use, the states must have superior weapons.
As much as we are talking of establishing state police, we should also look into the role of our royal fathers.
But Nigeria's #1 police officer, Kayode Egbetokun, says the country is not ripe for state police.
Creating state police at the moment will exacerbate ethnic tension in the country. It could equally lead to potentials for divided loyalty, as there will be multiple commands in the states.
The House of Representatives says the outcome of the dialogue will go a long way to shape the direction of the bill.
We recognize that the decision we make regarding the restructuring of Nigerian policing system are not intended to serve the interests of any individual or political faction. Rather, we aim to enact laws and reforms that benefit the collective welfare of our nation.
Let me state categorically that the House and indeed the National Assembly does not have a fixed position on this matter. Our role is to facilitate a dialogue and generate consensus.
For President Bola Tinubu, the fears against state police are better dealt with rather than Nigeria continue to run from its own shadow.
The concept of state policing is not merely a policy proposal, but a potential milestone in the evolution of our law enforcement framework. It offers the possibility of tailoring law enforcement more closely to the diverse needs of our communities.
In all of the discussions at this one-day national dialogue on state police, speaker after speaker underscored the role of the citizens in ensuring the success of state police.
We talked about challenges with funding. We talked about challenges with equipping and welfare. If we are to even, all of those issues that the IG, through its representative, talked about, are even the issues that, in my view, strengthen the need for state police. Okay, today, they are talking about equipment. Who is providing equipment for the police? The trucks they use, the sedans that they use, they are likely not from the federal authorities. Every state in our country today provides patrol vehicles for the police, provides gadgets for the police, even speedboats. I remember when Lagos State spent over R1 billion in one day. They provided equipment costing more than R1 billion to the police in one day. And the immediate past president was here to inaugurate those equipment, all kinds of equipment. Today, you see, when you go around, you see police vehicles that Dangote provided. you see, I remember the former governor of Ogun State, Amosun. You may not like Amosun for a lot of things. You may not be impressed by his king-size cap. But in his time as governor of Ogun State, he provided armor personnel carriers for the police. So which equipment are they talking about there? States are already providing equipment for the police. I can tell if states hands off the matter of equipping the police, I don't know where the police will be today. Just yesterday, we were discussing the current governor of Ogun State donating 25 patrol vehicles to the police in one day, 25. And the man said that he has given, since he became a governor, he's given them more than 100. That is what others are doing. Even in the northern states, the epicenter of banditry in our country, the Northwest, if you know how much those governors are spending on not just the police, but the army. They deploy soldiers to those places, Katsina and the rest of them. If you know how much they are spending, equipping them, allowances for those troops, you will really pity those governors. Because I was privy to some of the funding that went into equipping the police and the army in one of those Northwest states where I had a friend as a secretary to government. I saw those things in a month, hundreds of millions going. So what are we talking about? What we want is a situation that even reduces the burden on the center. This is what we are talking about. In the U.S., even schools have their own police. Schools, so counties, the equivalent of our own local governments here, they have their own police, not to talk of states. That's what, the way we are going, if we do not address that problem, and we think it's this central policing structure that we'll continue with, things will get worse. Already, policing as literally, I don't want to use a word that they will start holding on to, that Jide has come again. Policing has diminished in our country to the point that it's the army that we now call. Abaton and others of his age will recall that we had a police that was far better equipped than we have now.
Right.
Whether we have the kind of funds now that we can use to equip the police, like the, what's his name, the Ogbomosho man, like the Adewusi era, when the police could literally, they had equipment that even the army were envious of. But that's not the situation now. I've always said governors are not the chief security officers of their states. They are chief security logistics officers. Let's not kid ourselves, because they don't control they don't control the commander, army commander in their states, the GOCs in their state. They don't command the CP. CP takes his instructions from Abuja. All that the governor does is,
provide logistics for them to man the operation.
He chairs the security committee. But actually what they do is they provide what these people need. They are still doing it. If they are doing it now, what makes you think that under state police, they can't do more than this? Why are you talking about welfare? Is it federal policing structure that will guarantee better welfare?
But perhaps maybe it's not about welfare, Mr. Tunde. Perhaps it's looking at the fears.
No, but you mentioned welfare.
Yes, I understand that very well. But I'm just saying that perhaps maybe he also wants to talk about concerns, because already there are some speculations that if the governors have powers of state police, they could misuse this police for their own selfish interests, even if these fears are there.
I think when I read the story, I was physically angry. I was angry because without necessarily putting down the office of the IG, I thought maybe he was talking out of naivety, or he did not really fully understand the Nigerian context. A very diverse country of 200 million people. Then, if that is so, then I think there should be an audit of the Nigeria police force audits in terms of men, audits in terms of machinery, audits in terms of equipment and money that has been provided for them the last 20 years. When he joined the police force, probably he joined the police force 28 years ago. I know what the police was 30 years ago, 40 years ago. So, like he said, during the era of Adewu's Second Republic, I know what the police was. We had the kill and go, we had the mobile anti-riot police, and they were effectively in charge, even though Nigeria was a unitary state. But now, him talking like this, he's talking of believers of the fact that he's not aware of the nature of the Nigerian state. When you see, you want to centralize everything. Then, if he's aware, then it means that he wants to expand his own territory by calling for the inclusion of the FRSC and SDSC so that he can have enough control. Look, Lagos State, in the last 7 years, as I know, since the establishment of the trust fund, Lagos State has not spent anything less than 1 billion naira in a year, that I know. The same thing Ogun, like I said, the same thing Ogun and many other states. Now, when you now withdraw the state, his fear, you do know his fear is that by the time we allow the establishment of state police, all those states will now start funding their own police with the money they are sending to the federal government, with the money they are giving to the Nigerian police force. That would deny the Nigerian police, as constituted today, access to resources and some other things. And some other things I would not want to say. Because, like I said, there has to be an audit of the police, what the police have been using the money for, in spite of the fact that all the state governments have been providing infrastructure for them. Perhaps the only thing they don't provide is the guns they use. Yeah. Number two is the fact that, if you ask me, are you going to say that the federal government is not also guilty of misusing the police when their interests are uppermost? Yes. If we are accusing governors of misusing, as the police, it was the police that the federal government used to remove Ngige from office. I can remember vividly. It was the mobile police that they used to remove that man from office. Is the mobile police not the property of the Nigerian people? So he has no reason to say that. Even at the local level, look at the US.
What they did to Wike
during the COVID.
When he was
at the local level,
the
US at every county, it has a police officer. The only thing is that you regulate their laws. I can remember the Patriots, they are headed by late F.R.A. Williams. They said that if you have state police, you now have a regional control. If any matter that is seen that is beyond the state, you hand it over to the regional control officer. If it is beyond the capacity of the region, you now send for a response from the federal government. That is, if it is established that the state governor is about to misuse that thing. So it should not just give us that reason. And look at all those. Yes, he's entitled to his opinion, but as far as I'm concerned, he just defends the interests of those people who are controlling the police today by saying that they are biased. There has to be an audit of the police. Trying to expand his own territory by including NSCSD and FRC in the police so that he has more to control. And the territory of those people who will take over from him. He should not just bother himself, because Nigeria is a multivarious, multi-ethnic, and a very diverse nation. You should not post an officer from Tamanturu and send him to your local government to go and police. Because if you don't create state police, people like this present IG will continue doing what they are doing, posting police officers to where they don't understand the territory. So there has to be an audit of the police in the last 20 years to know whether they justify the state governments giving them support.
Right. Well, that's where we leave this conversation. Let's quickly move on.